I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwise Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Vit Jedlicka, the President of Liberland. Vit, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
It's great to be with you, Ashton.
I'm very excited to dive into Liberland, the principles of the country. I've heard so much of it from my crypto friends, and I know that this is something very unique in the world. I would love to kick off our conversation together with just a high level from those who, first of all, haven't heard of Liberland or don't know where it is. If you could just explain what is Liberland, and then we'll dive into all the details.
Well, Liberland is the newest and the freest country in the world. I think it's right now also fastest growing because we started from zero 1.5 months ago, and now we're building like crazy. So it's a great place to be in with the most exciting people to be around. And yeah, it's really, I think it's one in a lifetime opportunity to be part of a new country creation. I bet there will be more countries that will follow up our path, but we're literally opening up minds of people to new ways of country creation. And I'm not just talking about some network states, I'm talking about those new sovereign countries that are making their way fully to the top of the diplomatic chain and that are being built from grounds up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very exciting when there's a new sovereign country, and you mentioned there a month, but I know that this project has been going on for a long time. I'm sure there's so many steps, you working from the beginning to get to the point where you're even allowed to, start building buildings on top of a new area. Maybe you can go back to the beginning of your entrance to Liberland and where it is and how you got started on it in the very beginning.
Well, I got really pessimistic about being able to fix Czech Republic or Europe in general politically, because I could see that even if I had a YouTube channel with 20 million views and I met a couple of people that saw all my videos, I could see that they weren't able to change their mindset. And then I was thinking maybe even education is not the way to go, because people simply take ages to change the way that they see the world. And you cannot really build a free country with people that don't want to be free. So the only way that I could find, and maybe, it sounds crazy, but it really is easier to start a new country than to fix some existing one, because you cannot flip the people around. They simply take 2 generations to change their mindset. So that was the time when we were looking into territory that would be easiest to claim and start a new country. And we came over this territory, Liberland, called actually Gornia Siga back in the days. And at the beginning of 2015, in March, we found this territory. We were looking into legality. We looked very deeply into the legality of the fact that this territory was not claimed by any other country. And we planned the journey there on the birthday of Thomas Jefferson. That was the 13th of April, 2015. And we were expecting that maybe 10,000 people will become citizens by the end of the year, that, we get some traction. But it was first day. First hour, almost, it was crazy what kind of traction we received from very beginning. And it was also interesting that it was actually like naturally driven, and then the media followed. So we got like 250,000 people in the first week that applied for citizenship, and luckily our servers could maintain the traffic, and we managed to kind of everybody register. At least we were able to send them follow-up emails. And then like 10 days later, because we told people to apply via email and we received like 500,000 emails that we were unable to process, we flipped the registration into regular application for citizenships. And since then we have accumulated 725,000 people that applied for citizenship. So you can hardly call Liberland a micronation. We're bigger than Iceland or Malta in terms of potential citizens, or we are considering all these people that applied for citizenship, our nationals. And then you have to do something to become citizen. I think that's natural. People have to be actively engaged. And we've got now 7,000 E-residents and 1,000 citizens. And the country is flourishing because we started to build. After 8 years, we were able to gain access to Liberland. And we are really enjoying the time of this, I would say, almost magical time of building a country, physically building a country that we have been working on for 8 years, both diplomatically, commercially, on grounds activity. And yes, we were challenging Croatia over this territory. Croatia didn't claim this territory, but they wanted us not to claim it for 8 years actively through different means. They were trying to make sure that we cannot live there. And it became unsustainable after they joined Schengen and after they received very interesting PR by Nico Milana There is a big video that you can see back in April. There was this famous YouTuber that just came to Liberland, and despite all the efforts of Croatian police, he managed to get inside of the center of the Liberty Island and stick the flag there. He got beaten up right after, but that was also a nice part of the story because that helped us very much in the next round of negotiation with Croatia. And this video has now, I think, almost 9 million views. And then I was very lucky to have a friendly meeting with the Croatian president that also broke ice. On the 6th of August 2023, month and a half ago, we were able to access Liberland, and now we're actively developing the territory. It's a very exciting time.
Wow, that's very exciting, and it's great to hear about the traction that happened so quickly when, at the beginning, and now it's been years that you've had to go through the hurdles to actually get the land, break the land in. And can you talk a little bit about the size of the nation and sort of the location? I understand it's on a river, and it's not that big, but there are countries that are smaller, and they have many thousands of residents.
Yes, it's 7 square kilometers. We're 3 times bigger than Monaco, roughly the size of Gibraltar. I can tell you it's big enough. I lost 10 kilos while I was biking down up from the center to Marina. It's just the right size for me losing weight properly. And we also had, of course, Croatia is not actively supporting development of the country. So they are giving us different obstacles while developing the territory, like blocking the road access, like trying to block the river access. So we have all kinds of nice challenges by them, which always help us to get more organized and grow bigger. But so this is kind of a time when, think about it, like we are the greenest country in the world because we were even unable to get the cars in until very recently. So it's kind of a fun. And there was no infrastructure. So think about it, like you are physically blockaded by your neighbor while they cannot really beat you up or arrest you anymore for going to Liberland. They still try to do all kinds of bureaucratic and physical obstacles for you not being able to bring machinery, for example, to Liberland. So it's a lot of fun, again, dealing with Croatians, and I appreciate their security of the territory. For more than 8 years, they were actively securing the territory from us, but also for us, right? It was a very funny situation in which we were always inviting them for the party in Liberland. And the party finally happened. It was my 40th birthday that was happening in Liberland. And finally, all the Croatian policemen, most of them actually on duty, came to my party that I was inviting them for 8 years actively, going to the border, trying to get in. We're making party, guys. We're inviting you for the party. And then finally, we got to the stage when they joined us for a party in Liberland. And that was pretty cool because at the end, we ended up doing 3 parties. One in Croatia for Croatian supporters that didn't want to go to Liberland because of all the obstacles. One in Serbia because we already have a nice resort on the other side of the river, which is used as our settlement base. And one in Liberland, that was, of course, the most exciting one. I was happy that the second biggest Croatian television, stopped by and did a nice report there as well for my birthday.
Very cool, Vit. And speaking of the principles and the laws, the constitution of the country, can you talk a little bit about how, the early advocates? I know they were involved with cryptocurrency and how crypto and blockchain ties into Liberland.
Well, I think we were probably the first state entity that accepted Bitcoin, and we use Bitcoin as a main reserve currency since inception because we recognize the value of the centralized finance that is uncontrollable by central banking institutions. So I think that was the one connector. And there were also big startups like Bitcoin Swiss that were formed literally in Liberland, and now they're multi-billion, maybe not, but almost billion-dollar businesses in the crypto space. And those people had their sessions and workshops in Liberland in the early days. Wow. And it was the time when Bitcoin was $230. So like many of the people, including, for example, my secretary, were paid in Bitcoins, and they are fairly rich now because that was the time when we spent a lot of Bitcoins because we use them for daily transactions. So that's part of the story. But right now, what we have done is that we try to use the best proof of stake technology that was out there and really build up a governance for Liberland that could run all its business on one single blockchain platform. And we managed to do that with a little bit of help of Parity and Polkadot Foundation. We were able to put together a very nice governance system for the country where everything is basically in one package: budgeting, voting, court system. Liberland has been built basically following the principles of American constitutions, that it only takes care of justice, security, and diplomacy. And all of these things we basically put into this nice package. And we are also the first openly shareholding entity as a country, which I think is also pretty cool because all the taxes are voluntary. And if you want to pay them, you are actually getting the shares of the country that you're living in back.
Wow, very cool. And that's great to hear that Polkadot blockchain is involved in that. I feel like governance and government voting is probably one of the things that needs to be most revolutionized by blockchain. And as you said at the beginning, it's probably easier to start a new country than it is to convince, hundreds of years of history of the people in power to switch to something that is actually better technology.
Yeah, and I think we're a living proof to that. But of course, I always said at the beginning, we're like 5% finished with the country. I said maybe we're 10%. And now we made this huge jump, I think, to 60 to 70%. But there is still this last final sprint that we need to do to gain more diplomatic recognitions by other countries, to get properly recognized by our neighbors, to earn it, basically. Because building a country really is also about earning it, right? There must be some struggle. And by the way, I have to tell it, I'm very grateful that in 8 years of building Liberland, not a single broken foot or anything basically happened so far. I will dedicate now quite a lot of effort to build a clinic as soon as possible in Liberland. For the first time this thing happened. But we're very lucky, because thousands of people came to visit Liberland and they did all kinds of actions and they were drunk and stupid, but not a single major injury has happened in Liberland so far. So I will build a private clinic because the state is not organizing medical services. I will try to organize a private clinic and make sure that there is also high level medical service available to Liberlanders, but on the private level.
Very interesting. And I saw a video that came out yesterday about breaking ground for a government building or a town hall of sorts. Can you talk about actually building the infrastructure of the country? Sort of what are the priorities of which buildings need to come first in the transportation or getting to the country?
Yeah, we've got basically 3 places where we're building right now actively. And we have 2 serious development projects as part of it. So we started with Marina, that's the entry point where all the boats are coming, which is a nice beachfront property. We built a beach bar there and toilets and 2 other buildings so people can sleep there in a decent fashion, not have to be camping. So that was the first step, basically. And then at the same time, there was a historical building on the territory of Liberland, which the Croatia bulldozered because in 2017 we kept putting the flag on that building and they didn't like it. So they came from Croatia with the bulldozer and leveled it down. But we were always joking that it's great because now we can start properly from ground and we can rebuild it. So we have this discussion: how are we going to rebuild it? How close it will be to the original building, or are we going to do something more futuristic? We have a little bit of problem. We've got workers there that are ready to build it, and we are a little bit behind with the design. We were lucky that the bulldozers didn't destroy the basement, meaning that there is a very nice cellar, or almost like a bunker under the building, that we could have used for storage of things. And we were also sleeping there during a huge thunderstorms, which were a bit, I would say, scary. I really went there to make sure that we were well hidden. So we used that in the very early days. And it was funny, right? Like we were dropping, now there is 30 people living in Liberland, but you cannot really expect that bunch of people will just completely abandon their lives and that they will start settling with you right away. So the early days were quite hectic because I was just trying to get people to live in Liberland. So once we gained access, we're not going to just leave for everybody home after. We were running this festival, this yearly festival, Floating Man Festival. And this was actually the end of this festival where we all walked to Liberland, and we were expecting that all of us would get arrested like always, but we were simply asked for passports and they let us go in. But that was maybe 80, 90 people. But of course, like 90% of them basically left the next day, and another 5% the day after. And I was just trying to maintain the settlement, minimum settlement there. And this French guy comes, and his name is Frederick. And by the way, we're founded on libertarian principles. So for us, Frederick Bastiat is somebody that is very important for our history, a great author of books about libertarian ideas, explaining in a very simplistic way how economy works, how freedom works. So this guy Frederick comes in and saves the day because he's ready to stay there at no matter how many mosquitoes, no matter how much rain. he is just sitting there in the center and making sure that there is somebody living in Liberland, no matter how many broken cars or how many food we need to buy or whatever needs to be solved. So he saved the day for like a week or two. Without him, we would have a problem. But then the population started to rise to 5 to 10 people. Now we are very much secured from that perspective, and we are building almost, I would say, one house a day, which is pretty exciting.
Wow, very cool. And I was going to ask about that. If there are more people that are going to, I'm sure there will be very soon, moving to Liberland, what steps do they need to take to do that? And can they just go build a house anywhere of any size? What are the requirements?
The requirements are to have merits. 5,000 merits is a requirement for citizenship. And when you have that, you have the right to homestead 500 meters of land. That's the minimal plot that you can homestead right now. So we had to double the price of merit, actually, because the demand was great over the last 2 weeks. To slow it down a little bit, but I think it's still very affordable. Actually, the citizenship costs now $10,000, and that gives you 5,000 merits, and that gives you the right to homestead 500 meters.
Wow, very cool. And what's the timeline for the near future, moving forward with this construction that I saw the video of this week, to hopefully what you have planned for moving towards the end of 2023 and into next year?
Well, next week we're planning to move in with heavy machinery, so everything should speed up quite a bit. We have 2 other bigger development plans. There is a hotel for $10 million that is being prepared. There is a very nice video on our YouTube channel about the presentation of how it should look like. We're also building a small spa in the center of Liberland next to the well. So because we will need to run these diesel generators, and we decided if we have so much excessive heat from these generators, why don't we heat a couple of pools and make a sauna city there? We're also building adventure park for kids, and there will be like a race ring for kids in the center. So we will start attracting children from the area, as well as we just built a border house, so we have permanent border guards in Liberland. That's another major step towards gaining sovereignty. We signed a long-term contract with the biggest private security company in the region, and I'm quite happy that they're on board with the construction of Liberland. So a lot of things. The marina needs to be also developed. There will be like a marina lofts, another project where all the houses will have solar panels, and that will be basically big solar power plant that will be made out of these houses that will be targeted directly towards the sun. So we don't have to build some solar power plant, but every single power plant will be a house also. So a lot of things. And again, I'm expecting some heavy machinery to arrive to Liberland next week. So cross fingers.
Very cool, Vit. And where is the best place for people to learn more, follow those updates, learn more, and check out the residency and the citizenship programs?
Well, yeah, I wish, we have this problem with the developers. I don't know if you ever had it as well, but it seems that it's easier to build a country than to finish the website. So yesterday I was working with them like step by step. Please finish this, please finish that. We have a really nice new website, which is much more explanatory than the old one, but I have no clue when we are going to launch it because it's simply not fast enough. But it was supposed to be done last year. But anyway, so the old website is still okay. You can find all the important information there. You just click through the process, register yourself, become citizen. But I would really, completely frankly, I think this is a great opportunity now to become citizen. It's never going to be this cheap to become citizen as well, because we are going to exchanges We have been listed 4 days ago on the Edge wallet, and there are 3 major exchanges that want to list us. And I think this is going to be a huge crypto event as well when this happens. And I think we have a quite smart tokenomic system, which really makes sure that all the excessive energy or value that is being created in the ecosystem goes directly into the country building. I'm not going to go too deeply into that, but we'll have a first election for Congress. And the Congress will be basically the managing body of Liberland. People that have merits will be voting with their merits to choose who's going to sit in that Congress. Again, that's one of the last chances to become citizen of Liberland for reasonable money, because then we will be out of control of the value of both the land as well as the citizenship in Liberland.
Wow, very cool, Vit. I'm looking forward to those updates on the crypto side as well. I will leave the website link and the YouTube, as you mentioned, in the description box below. Appreciate you coming on, taking the time. All the best with the further growth of Liberland moving forward, and let's definitely follow up in the near future.
Amazing, amazing. Great to be with you, and looking forward to see you in Liberland soon. I hope you will make it.
Thank you.